Against the couple, some ball in towards Shushayeta. Back off the post. Mobwa for MacArthur. A quite remarkable story.
Hello and welcome to Bull Banter, the only podcast focused on the MacArthur Bulls, the A-League and all things football. I'm joined here with Daniel Sims, and the bells, they're still ringing in Campbelltown.
They sure are, and they're never going to stop ringing until we finally lose a game. So, another beautiful week to be a Bulls fan. Hope you're all doing beautiful and loving football returning to Campbelltown.
Yeah, you're joining us here on the Christmas edition of Bull Banter. We thought we'd get this one out a little bit earlier for you because, I mean, we're just in the festive spirit. We're top of the league, undefeated, yet to concede a goal from open play. There's a lot to like about life at the moment.
Yeah, we're playing good football. So, I mean, we're
playing winning football.
Winning football. And, winning football is not always pretty. The Jose Mourinho's, sometimes you got to park the bus and win 2-1.
That's right.
And especially, just some of the hands you get dealt, down to 10 men, you got to just play to the situation.
Exactly right. And we did that expertly. We came out with a much changed side against the Newcastle Jets. Tommy Orr in the midfield, Sujniar and Al Hassan Toure were absentees when you'd be thinking they'd be getting a few minutes at least. But we found out only post-match that the team had really been disrupted in their preparations due to COVID restrictions and quarantining and all that sort of stuff. So, huge result, huge effort from the lads. And, let's walk through it. I mean, basically to start off with, we kept Newcastle fairly quiet. They had the bulk of the possession, but we expect to sort of play that way. We let other teams have the ball. We're very opposite to how we played last season. On the 18th minute, Yule, who probably did the exact thing that we most didn't want Newcastle to do, which is Yule with his speed to make that inside run behind our centre-backs. And, they found him and it got Curto sort of caught in no man's land. He's usually very quick off the line, but because of the pace of Yule and just the precision of the ball, Uzcock was unable to do anything about it. And if Curto had not fouled him, it's a certain goal. And, we're very lucky even with the refereeing decision that he's pulled it back for that red card rather than let it play because it fell straight to Bumal who slotted it away. So
yeah,
Curto goes off, commits the professional foul for the team, and Suman comes on for Tommy Orr, who had a dazzling first 18 minutes.
Yeah, I guessed it as well because we're all thinking who's going to get subbed and... unfortunately for Tommy, it was him. But it was always going to be one of the attacking players that's getting subbed. So
yeah, well, we needed I think Ante looked at it and went, okay, who's got the legs to do 90 minutes of running pretty much? And, with the personnel there was a bit of a shift around as well. Liam Rose went into right back after, first of all, we got to talk about it. He's come on really well this season. His performances off the bench have been really good, and he played an excellent 2 hours in the Cup against Sydney, despite the overall team performance that night. So he earned his spot in the starting 11 in midfield, and he finally gets his chance, and then Curto goes and gets sent off, so he shifted back into right back. But it's good to have a player of his sort of utility to be able to slot into those positions. And to be fair to him, I think apart from a nutmeg in the second half, he pretty much pocketed Yule.
Yeah, Yule didn't really produce. Like in the first half, he was able to get in behind Noon, but that's when we had 11 players on the pitch. And then when we went back to the back four, you didn't really see him do too much because he wasn't afforded that space in behind us. And as you said, Liam Rose, solid player, just gets in there, gets it done, and he's playing good football.
Yeah, you'd be happy having him anywhere on the park pretty much. He's just playing with that consistency and composure anywhere. He can just do the job. So he slotted in well and pocketed Yule. Reduced his threat massively. Really, the only thing that Yule could get going forward is if he beat Liam one-on-one, and I don't think he really even did that. It helped that with 10 men, we were much more condensed, compacted. I think Noon and Lockie were pretty much the two up top, and we had the rest just defending. And then when we were into the defensive block, it was a block of 4, a block of 5.
Yeah.
And that makes it very hard because I think it just matched what Newcastle usually like to do. I know they've got these fast, wide players, but they do like to build up through the middle. And, with certain things like the absence of Angus Thurgate and just our compression of the two lines, it was very difficult for them to get anything going. It played right into our hands, funnily enough.
Yeah, and they had an early substitution as well, I think even before our red card.
Murnane. Murnane went off with a calf injury.
So we thought it was going to be a repeat of the Mariners where they have to bring a young bloke on.
And then he scores with his first touch.
Yeah. But, I'm not sure if the left back had to switch to right back because of Murnane going off. But working down the left side, the Jets left back and Yule had no combination play at all. Yeah. So that's maybe why Yule's threat was so minimised, just because they had no chemistry going down the left at all after the substitution, from what I saw.
Yeah, and it might have just been a bit of fortune on our side as well for that. But you have to say, when we did go forward, when we picked our moments, we've obviously defended resolutely, we've just manned up and taken the space. There was a lot of good filling in for each other. When a left or right wing back like Moody would go up and press a little bit, and De Silva would fill in like that. They've got that system sort of memorized now, and it's really great to see, from a defensive standpoint, just how solid we are. Everyone does their job, beautiful. But it has to be said, when we did have the ball, when we went forward, when we sort of chanced our arm a little bit, we looked really solid. De Silva and Mamba were finding space in the midfield, being able to switch it out, and we're able to actually advance up the field, get some crosses in, and it ended up really working for us. I think that's mainly down to the work of Lachlan Rose, because what happens is, in defence, he's sitting in that first line of the block, but then as soon as we've got the ball, usually with Suman having a goal kick or having his hands on the ball, he's just sprinting as far forward as he can, dragging Yerman back, and even if he doesn't win the header, it creates so much space because Newcastle have to fall back quickly after trying to penetrate the box. They're probably a bit, thinking, this is a bit shit. I don't want to have to jog all the way back or sprint all the way back for this. And they're probably also expecting to get the ball back. So what it ends up doing is giving our midfielders so much more time. If we get that second ball off of the long kick, which, it's very rudimentary play, but it was working for us. Right? If we get that second ball, then we can actually get it, play it, and have it where we want it. It's a big thing I've seen this season as compared to last season, where no longer really playing out from the back. It's much more just win the ball in the midfield and then play from there.
Yeah, and a lot of the passes out the back have been much more progressive this season, breaking the lines and moving it forward as fast as possible.
Yeah, so not hesitant at all.
Yeah, so then we're able to actually catch the opposition on the back foot, whereas last season it was just, side to side more often than not, and sides were afforded enough time to get back and sit behind our midfield pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it a lot. I've noticed that we pretty much play for either the high press when it's on. We wait for them to make a mistake in midfield, whether it's kicking the ball out of play, a misplaced pass that we can pounce on. We're sort of reactive a little bit, or we're sitting deep in the block and just absorbing the pressure until we pretty much get a goal kick. And then on the goal kicks, we've got tall timber like Moody Najjar. I understand why he's at left wing back now. He's very, very good in the air.
He was winning a ton of headers on that left side, and there was one collision. He completely just demolishes the bloke in the air, and he sort of looks down at him like, "Come on, mate, get up."
Yeah, soft.
Yeah, and the bloke was rolling around, holding his neck or something, but he was fine.
Nah, Moody was quality in the air, and I understand now because if you get the goal kick, you get it out to your left wing back, pushes up, basically becomes another midfielder. He wins that header. 9 times out of 10 it's going to us. We get it down and we play. And, we got the options going forward to really hurt teams. So we held out well for the first half. Didn't really get threatened.
Was there any
apart from
key moments in the early stages that we want to touch on at all? Because
I didn't really see the Jets get much going.
No, it was a bit back and forth, but then there was a phase of the game before the red card where it was just all Jets streaming down either side, and we couldn't really get much ball in their final third.
We couldn't, and we weren't putting much together. But again, I think it's down to our style of play. Like, I don't expect us to go out there in the first 10-15 minutes and grab a goal, really, unless we get a counter press.
Unless it's a fluky one, which we have seen a few of those so far this season.
Yeah, but we're very much a second half team, if that makes sense. We actually push the advantage then, because we just get this sort of resiliency, this belief that we're not going to concede, and it starts to play on the mind of the opposition, and then we can roll over the top of them second half, especially when Ante is really good at making those substitutions.
Yeah.
But the only real threat they had was when they actually scored their goal from the set piece.
Yeah, so another foul on the edge of the box, and, when we're flying in like that right on the penalty area, you sort of get shivers down your spine thinking, oh, shit, a pen. But they get a free kick right on the 18-yard spot.
Yeah, and I thought initially, he's going to have to do so well to get this up and down.
And he did just that.
He was.
Mikkel Tadzi, class player. You can just see when he's, so composed on the ball.
Mm.
And I'm surprised he didn't do more in the second half, but we'll get onto that.
Well. But
we'll get onto that because the Jets didn't
the goal,
really do much. But yeah, the goal, class. Schumann got a hand on it, but I think there's just too much power on it.
It was right up where the Spiders live. He's done well to even get something on it. Tough introduction for the kid, but, he weathered that storm pretty well. But Mikkel Tadze, it silenced Campbelltown Stadium because, what can you do? You can't boo him, you can't, tell him to F off. That was just class. You got to sit back and respect it.
That happened last time we versed the Jets as well. I forget who scored it, but they scored a bomb from 30 yards.
Garkovic when he was playing for them.
Garkovic, yeah. And same thing happened where the 5 Jets fans just go, oh!
Yeah, and everyone else is just like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
But no, when you've got that kind of ability, you can only sit back and respect it as an opposition fan. But thankfully for us, we were able to get back into the game. We didn't drop our heads, which was really impressive. And, we fought back. And in the second half, we got that perfect start.
Yeah, so after the goal, 35 minutes in was the goal. So at that point, you're thinking, all right, just see it out to half-time. Yeah. And obviously, they had most of the possession the rest of that half, and I can't really remember too many chances coming.
There was one chance where I think it was Lockie or someone had a shot, and Duncan nearly spilled it into the goal.
Yeah, off the cross or something. And then there was also another one earlier
came back off his post,
for Lockie off the corner. It sort of just fell to him at the back post unmarked, and then
that was very early on. I think.
That might have been before the red,
but,
actually.
Yeah, not too much attacking play to speak of, but you kind of expect that due to the circumstances of being a man down. But yeah, second half we came out all guns blazing. I think Ante would have told them they look a little reluctant to defend or just a little bit cautious. And so we went out for the first 5 minutes there, all guns blazing, and nabbed one.
Yeah, the 48th minute comes. We see Noon just, barnstorming down the right side. And
before that, it was some excellent work from De Silva. So he's pinched it sort of up the pitch, working there with Najar defensively.
Oh yeah, he won it on halfway and then sort of worked it back or something, didn't he?
Yeah. So he sort of dribbled it forward, held it up, waited for everyone else to come through. We got up into an attacking posture, got it to Charles, who sort of beat a man, flicked it out to Noon nice and quick, and then Noon only had to apply the cross, and geez, didn't he pick him out?
I know, and on his right foot as well. The entire state of New South Wales is thinking, he's going to cut back onto his left, and he sort of gives a little feint, but then just goes with the right, perfect ball, top of the area, and De Silva, round of applause.
Yeah, class finish. He was rushing onto it, ghosted in, I think his marker kind of just was daydreaming because he just watched him go right in front of him. Lockie made the run to near post, dragging the centre back out of that space where the ball ended up, and De Silva arrived right on time, applied the perfect finish. Like, it's one of those ones where it just hits the net almost immediately off the boot.
Yeah.
Absolutely thunderbolted in. You can't stop that. No keeper stopping that.
Yeah. Keeper had no chance. Keeper just was like flat-footed. Oh, it's already in.
Yeah.
And just
before he could even react,
smashes it on the full first-time volley on the full, and seeing that live, just elation.
Yeah. And following that,
as you said,
you got your tails up.
Yeah, as you said, I think that's the best goal we've scored.
Yeah.
As a club. So,
and when you pull out something like that in those circumstances, it gives you a lot of belief. And they needed it. They carried it through all the way through the second half. There was some questionable calls, and I think after the goal, peach of a goal, but we were still in that very defensive posture. It sort of gave the Jets a bit of impetus to go harder at us. And it wasn't until like the 60th minute, I think, when Uzcock gave away a free kick that was very questionable and was given a yellow card for it, right on the edge of our box. Looked clean to me live, looked clean to me in the replay. I don't know what the ref saw, but Uzcock got very fired up about it. And then that also inspired the crowd to get into it because they thought that was bullshit.
Yeah, the boos were coming thick and fast.
They were literally calling out bullshit across the whole stadium.
Yeah. And to be fair, the boos usually do come out from the Campbelltown crowd. We don't like refs.
No.
Like, the refs could give us 5 pens, but then one bad call and we're on their ass.
I was talking to a few fans who are up in the Western stand because we were on the hill behind the goal and we saw the Curto incident. That was clear as day, red card.
Yeah.
You cop that. But a lot of people on the side of the pitch thought that Curto got a bit of the ball.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, we've been hard done by with that red. So maybe they were a bit fired up from that and then the bad call against Uzcock.
I think
but
so.
In any case, following that, like every single block, every single tackle, every single clearance, even a good pass or a little dribble, everything was applauded and the bells were going off. The crowd was cheering in every single touch of that game from then on.
Yeah.
We were just fired up. We were like, this ref hates us. We love an underdog, and we were the underdog for the majority of that match. And, you know, it really got the boys to lift after that point. And, you know, we saw off the pressure from the Jets when we needed to, but when we were going forward again, had so much space and time. You know, De Silva did a Maradona spin. And
that was class.
Absolutely ripped this guy. Like, pretty much has ended his career. I don't know if he'll get another game. But
he should have kept going himself on that.
Yeah, he should have. He's
he
done this guy.
He tried to find Noon, like slipping in. Yeah, he does the guy on halfway with the Maradona spin, and
he's carrying the ball forward at pace, and then you're thinking he's gonna maybe, you know, curl his top bins or beat another player and lay on the cross or something, but he just tries to find Noon down the line, and Noon's not the quickest, and he's just really overhit the pass, and he could tell off the boot because he's just fallen straight to the ground and gone, oh, I really fucked that up. Like, that could have been a real class moment. But apart from that, you have to say Daniel De Silva has not put a foot wrong over that whole 90 minutes. Like,
nah,
he put the whole team on his back.
Yeah, massive carry job, especially we're forgetting in the absence of De Vea.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy, but we haven't noticed really his absence because De Silva's been so good.
Yeah. Makes you think, like,
what can they do?
Whether the team will allow, like, strategically wise, for both of them to shine as much as they are, or whether it's...
Will they play themselves out of the game because they're so similar?
Yeah. Like, if they're occupying the same space, is De Silva going to have the same opportunity to shine again? Or if De Silva's on fire in one game, is De Vea going to have the opportunity to shine?
Yeah, I think it can work, especially because both of them have previously played centre mid for different sides. So, like, De Vea had slotted in at centre mid for Wellington. Same with De Silva when he was at Central Coast in the early days. They both know how to do what they need to do in certain situations in the midfield. So I feel like if one of them's actually on fire, the other's not going to try and, like, one-up them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll just play the situation and know what they need to do. But, they just need to get on the park together and get those combinations going, because you can tell, you know, if De Silva and De Vea are on the same level of form that De Silva's on now, they're going to be absolutely unplayable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he was huge for us. It was really good to see, like absolutely massive performance, and he capped it off with an assist. But before we talk about that, we got to talk about Jake Holman, because his introduction in the 75th minute, I believe, absolutely changed the game.
Yeah. Everyone loves seeing him run on the pitch, and you just feel the stadium lift, like,
Rise a bit.
Oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, he's the type of, we say it every week, he's the type of player you want in your team just to run at the defense, and he did just that. And countless times he had receiving the ball, has a bloke on him, and just turns him expertly, just leaves him in the dust. So many times he'd just carry the ball from halfway, and like, only De Silva was really doing that for us in the game. And when you're down a man, that's what you need. You need someone that can beat one or two players, and then you're on an even playing field now. And to our credit, it looks like we didn't have.
We looked like we played with more than them.
Stages. It looked like they had 10 men that second half.
Yeah,
and we had 11. But
yeah, Holman, brilliant player. We said it last week, and we'll say it again. He just has the measure of the timing of the ball so well. He's every touch, he knows there's a defender on his back. He can just knock it around him, and he's either going to get fouled or he's going to be in acres of space. He just has that spatial awareness that is so difficult to coach. And it worked really well for us. Like, he drew 3 or 4 fouls, and especially a really key one towards the end of the game where
it was off the throw-in, or he sort of starts off in the centre, not involved in the throw, and then I think we throw it short and bounce it back to whoever threw it in, and Holman just sort of goes in from the centre to receive the ball and drags the defender out with him, and he immediately knows the defender's there on him, so he just flicks it to the side as the first touch comes, and the defender just completely takes him out.
Yeah, cops the contact.
Yeah, and 25 yards out off to the side. Great area for a free kick.
Yeah, and credit to him. He straightened back to his feet. He almost played it a quick free kick.
He was looking for it.
And then, a lot of other players of his age and his style of play might have rolled around a bit. But no, he was up for it. And we have to say, too, credit to Ante for not making a more defensive style substitution.
Yeah, like actually going for the 3 points.
Win.
I guess when you look back at that first half until Holman comes on, like, we were all over them.
Yeah.
Like, even though
they were vulnerable, they were ready to be.
Well, when I say we were all over them, that sounds like we had a lot of possession. We didn't, but they weren't creating anything.
They ran out of ideas.
They were just passing side to side, and so many times they were able to get the space on the side, but then we just force them back. They'd have to turn it around and start again.
I think they pretty much knew that, with Mikkel Tadzi isolated in the middle against 3 centre-backs, he was not getting anything in the air.
No.
So they were forced to try and just beat the wide player. But because we were so condensed, every single time they'd take the touch to go around that player, even if they skinned him, it was another person there to take the block to, make the tackle. And we were just really resolute, like a great defensive team performance once again. But I have to say, Milicic sensing that moment, making that correct substitution to bring on the attacking player who made the difference for us. That's master tactician stuff. I would say, apart from maybe Popovic, he'd be the best coach in the league. That's my bias is showing, obviously, but he's been involved in the national team for ages and ages for a reason.
And not just tactically, obviously, he's going to motivate anyone to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And fight for the shirt. So
that's right. But he knows what he needs to do with certain players. I feel like he has a very, wrapped in cotton wool relationship with Jake Holman, but he sort of fires up at Lockie.
Yeah. I think he's going to mold Lockie into just like
a pest,
a relentless pest. The league might hate him next season.
Yeah.
Because there was a few potential red card challenges for Lockie late on.
But we love it.
But yeah.
He needs to keep the nice guy persona going so that he doesn't cop it so much. Because otherwise, I can see him being sort of typecast like a Matt Simon figure.
Yeah.
But it has to be said,
yeah.
like, he's such a hard worker and he does really well. It's just, I think the passion gets a bit of the better of him sometimes because he knows, I mean, especially late on with the foul, the nearly red foul on Yerman. I think that was just frustration at not having dribbled him in a critical moment where he could have iced it with a 3-1.
Yeah.
And then knowing, oh shit, I've lost the ball.
Sort of lashing out.
I need to stop the play here.
Yeah. They did go to VAR and everyone was sort of worried, but then they just kept it as a yellow. So
yeah, I think on another day, or if it was against us, I'm saying that's a red.
If we didn't already have 10 men, he's
probably
gone.
off. Yeah. I mean, like, Yerman was a little punk who rolled around on the ground afterwards, but you could clearly see, like, on the television screen,
slices him.
The marks on the guy's leg from the studs. Not great.
Yeah.
Not a career ender.
No.
But not great. Like, I think the one on De Villa the other week was way worse. That direct to the ankle lunging in.
Definitely more of a Kevin Muscat challenge, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about the goal.
Yeah, the free
winner.
kick.
It was beautiful. I mean, the way that De Silva just floated it to the back post, beautiful shape on the ball, and Meredith just applied the finish. His bullet header right into the back of the net.
Meredith is he's always coming up with those headed
He's a goal
goals.
sneak.
Yeah, I think that's his third or fourth headed goal. The others coming off corners, I think, from last season. But yeah, just as soon as that ball goes into that area, you're thinking we're a chance here, and then Meredith just applies the finish, dives into it, and it's in the back of the net, and everyone's sort of like, oh shit, we're winning.
No, it was huge though. Like, the whole crowd got on their feet. The whole team went and joined in the celebrations with Meredith. It was brilliant to see, and I think that'll be a real strength of ours going forward with the style of play that we now have. Free kicks, set piece opportunities become so important, and we've got the kind of tall timber to be able to threaten any side. So it's just about the execution, and De Silva's deliveries, Noon's deliveries. You're going to get quality service in there. So it's all up to the players in the box to just be in that right position and apply the finish. I mean, he nearly scored earlier off the corner that we got just before the goal. Like, the fact that we were getting up there, getting corners, getting opportunities. We probably had more shots on goal that were like effective. You know what I mean? In the second half than the Jets as well.
Looking at the stats for the match, like, in the second half, we had equal amount of shots. Like, both teams had 5 on target. Jets had 3 off target and 1 was blocked. And we had 2 off target. So we were creating better chances with 10 men than an 11-man Jets.
Yeah.
So,
but I'll tell you what, you know how you get a sense for the game, right? When Suman made that point-blank clutch save off Bumal and kept that out, I had a sense that we were walking away with 3 points.
Yeah, that would have destroyed the Jets' confidence because, like, you got to finish that.
You don't get a better chance than that, really.
And he's hit it
directly at him.
I wouldn't say directly because I think Schumann still had to get like a arm out or something. It's not like he's hit it into Schumann's chest.
True.
Schumann still had to get a quick reaction on it. But yeah, quality save. He come up real big in not ideal circumstances, being subbed on 20 minutes in with the red card, and I thought he played pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, you can see why we've got him at the club. I think long term he'll be our keeper, and he announced himself to the local fans really well. You couldn't do much about the free kick, and I think everyone sort of went, well, that's just class, not much you can do. But everything else he was required to do, he did expertly. Really impressive performance from him. I thought he was absolutely massive for us.
Yeah, and his distribution as well. Like, at the start, you're thinking, oh, why is he going long? But then he's always hitting the right areas with those long balls. Always hitting them long and right on the sideline.
Giving us a good chance to win it back or to have the Jets be pinned in or make a mistake. Yeah, it was the right tactic for sure. So that means we're top of the league for Christmas. We love to see it. and still undefeated, still haven't conceded from open play. We are living in dreamland right now as Bulls fans. How long can it be sustained? Well, that's a question that needs to be answered, but we have an answer for one of the questions we asked last week. We asked what would happen if we've gone down early in a game, and the boys showed it. They had the resilience needed to make it all happen. Yeah, the boys showed up massively despite the difficult circumstances, and I'm really surprised. Or I wouldn't even say I'm surprised by it. I'm really heartened by it because for most of the season we've kind of been fortunate. We've gone up early. We've had keepers get injured. We've had other players be unavailable for injury for the opposite side. So I don't know if we've actually played our best football yet, but the results are going our way. We're growing, and we just have that resilience now. I mean, we talked about last week. We just feel like we're not going to concede. We can let the other teams have the ball for 90 minutes, and it's not going to matter because we're not going to concede. We've got that defensive structure down pat. But speaking of our opponents for next week, Sydney FC, they've been in the mud a little bit, but they've steadied the ship somewhat against Wellington on the weekend. I wouldn't say they looked crisp.
What was the score in that one?
2-1. I wouldn't say they looked crisp. I think Wellington, for their first goal that they conceded to Camp Sober, they just had 4 defenders who were ball watching. Ball floated over the back post, and then it's headed back across again, and Camp Sober just picked his spot. Wellington are a little bit weak at the moment. I know that we drew with them in the first round, but we were having our own issues then. But I think since then, if we were to play them again, we'd be a much better side. So I don't know how much you can really take out of the result for Sydney. Their second goal was pretty good. Like Lafondra skipped through a couple and then picked his spot. But they still look shaky. I don't know. I'm going to admit I didn't see the whole match, but from what I did see, they were giving it away pretty cheaply, trying to play out from the back, trying to play it into the midfield. That transition from defensive sort of holding the ball to trying to actually attack, they really struggled. I think that plays into our hands really well.
I think, though, that Wellington press a lot better than us.
True.
Because we saw it when they played against us as well. The amount of times they won corners because they just clamped down on us in our own box. So, could be something to look into for us with Lockie leading the line with the press, whether, it's something that we plan to do. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's just let the centre-backs have the ball, drop back, and then try win it in the midfield by getting, shoulders in and whatever.
I will say, we pressed a lot more against Sydney, when we played them at Cogra, and it paid dividends. We were pinching the ball pretty high up the pitch, so that could work for us again. But it's going to be a difficult one. Suman's going to have to start in goal as Kurto's suspended, so he's going to have to come up big again. And it'll be an interesting little battle. But I think we've got the psychological edge over them. We're the one with the momentum, but can we be favourites, I wouldn't even say necessarily we're favourites because of Sydney FC's sort of legacy and the expectation that's around them.
From a bookie's point of view, we would not be favourites just because of the Sydney FC price tag.
That's right. But, it begs the question, if we can get the business done over Sydney on Boxing Day, can we actually start to believe this is our year?
Well, it will only be our 6th game.
True.
There's still a long season ahead. It's not like the EPL where if you're
top at Christmas,
you've got a good chance of winning the league.
I'm just saying, everything's going right so far.
It would be good if we're top of the table entering next year, 2022.
Absolutely, it would. And I think, we get Villa back at the start of next year. We've got a lot of players who haven't had a lot of game time, but are still sort of integrating into the squad. We're only going to improve. So I feel like, if we can get the business done against Sydney, beating them twice in a season, not many teams can do that.
Yeah.
I feel like that'll give us the confidence we need to push forward and go for at least a top 2 finish. But man, at the moment, everything's just going our way. Even when it doesn't go our way, it goes our way. Because getting sent off, ironically, brought us into a better shape to see off the Jets.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. But another interesting thing that we have to talk about is Campbelltown Stadium itself. Now,
Yes.
low attendance on the weekend.
1,000 and something.
No. 2,690 something. That's still not great. And you could argue there's a few reasons for that. COVID's sort of making a comeback in Sydney at the moment, so you might have a few families.
COVID so hot right now.
You might have a few families who are reluctant, especially around Christmas time, to be going out, risking an infection and then getting quarantined.
I think,
or even a close contact.
A lot of families are holding out, like not going out as much until Christmas because they want to get their lunches in and dinners, obviously.
Bit of a concern. Like, there's plenty of kids there, plenty of families, but COVID's a concern. There's the closeness of it to Christmas, just in general. Like, not a lot of people have a spare bunch of money to be able to go and spend on a football match at this time of year. You got the Ashes on. You got heaps of other things going on. It's a busy time of year, of course, and unfortunately, because of our age and all that, I don't think many people prioritise. The Bulls are in town, but you would have liked to have seen a bigger crowd and response for our real first home game of the season. Despite that, the crowd that was there really got amongst it, and I think sort of helped carry the boys to victory.
It felt like there was more than 2,000 people there, which is a good
There was a nice
thing.
little bit of atmosphere, which is odd to say for Campbelltown. It's usually pretty cavernous.
The last time we had atmosphere like that was maybe the Melbourne City game where it was 1-1.
Yeah.
Or the 4-0 against Adelaide.
And then the derbies as well always pull a good crowd.
Yeah.
Because we always push back against Sydney and Western Sydney. But it's an interesting one. So there was a picture that emerged for like the game day prices, and pretty atrocious, bit price gougey in my opinion.
They at most stadiums, so if you're just picking up a ticket at the gate, isn't it always more expensive for some reason? I don't really get that. Like, you'd think when it's 10 minutes before a game, you're going to have the tickets at the cheapest, but
yeah, it seems a bit counterintuitive. I mean, maybe because of the agreement with the council about renting it supposedly for $1 a year, and other factors, but the board's probably just gone, this is our break-even number. We've already got enough fans as members.
Yeah.
Who cares? Let's just get the rest. Whoever else wants to come in, they can pay for it. But ideally, you'd want to get as many people through the gates as possible. I mean, 2,600 at Campbelltown Stadium is like 15% capacity. It's not good viewing. It's not good for the TV. It's not great for the atmosphere. Like, it took a few things to go right or wrong for us on the field before the crowd really got involved.
Yeah.
So you'd want to see more people there. We know our area. We know there's hundreds of kids who are playing soccer in the region. It's the highest participated in sport in the region.
Yeah.
We've got to get those kids through the gates. Now, I've heard about a deal that's going on for the Boxing Day match against Sydney. If you're a MacArthur, registered MacArthur football player who's a kid, so I think it's under 10, you can go for free with a paying adult. Now, that's a good strategy. Yeah. But, man, some of these prices, like...
read some of those off.
If you want to sit out of the sun, you're paying, as an adult, minimum $40.
Yuck.
Disgusting. $35 for concession. $30 for junior, so that's $4 to $15. Or a family ticket, all up, so 2 adults, 2 children, that's $115. That's too steep. I mean, you got to know your area, you got to know your constituents, and we've got to do more stuff like we did last season, where $5 tickets for juniors.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a registered player in the local MacArthur region, you attend for free, stuff like that. And it's good to see the club making that step for the Boxing Day match, but it needs to be a more regular thing, because we saw it last season at the end of the year. We played against Wellington and Mariners, and there was a couple of deals that went on for that. They tested it out. We got over 5K for both those games, right? It's not, it's not 10K, but again, we're a growing team, we're a new team, we're in a suburb or a region that's still sort of getting the population up there. In 10 years, we could be a massive team, but we've got to get the kids to fall in love with it now. And we're only going to do that by getting them through the gates and, seeing the team win. And when the team's up like this, you got to get those people through the gates, even if you're taking a little bit of a loss now. I mean, if you're getting into Aussie football to make money, you got coconuts in your head. We got to think long term about this. So I think we've got enough there, support wise, for kids, or just people generally in the area who love the Bulls. But we've got to get them through those gates. So that's a point of contention for the club. I think once we do that, if the team's still up and firing, there's going to be people falling in love with it. I'm sure the families, the kids that were there on Sunday, will now fall in love with the club because of what they witnessed.
Yeah.
Right? We need to get more people through.
Yeah. Hit the nail on the head there. As you said, you got to strike while the iron's hot. It could be 3 years' time where in a, potentially relegation battle if the, A-League gets the 2-tier system or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're going to need fans then, because we've seen it with other clubs in the league right now as well. Like, numbers across the board have sort of dropped all around. But when you're on top, it doesn't get... You're not going to have a better opportunity to win over new fans.
That's right. I mean, when you've got a new club who comes in, you have a grace period of a few years where there's really goodwill from the community.
Yeah.
We got 25,000 people following the MacArthur FC page on Facebook only, right? That doesn't necessarily translate automatically into attendance, but it's people who are at least interested in the team.
Well, if you check the MacArthur supporters page, half of them aren't interested in the team. They're just...
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But, there's a demand there. We've got to turn them into passionate supporters over time. Now, we've got a brilliant side this year.
Yeah.
We've been able to sign some fantastic players. We're not going to have the same luxury going forward because when you're a new team for the first couple of seasons, you have increased salary cap. That's why we're able to get Devere. That's why we're able to get Mariappa, right? Urich, even from Adelaide United. We're not going to have probably, unless we start developing our own players, a team like this for a very long time again. So we've got to, like you said, strike while the iron's hot and, make the most of it. Get the kids out there, get them to fall in love with the team in real life. Because, it's fun watching it on the TV, but it's better in real life. You can't substitute it. Being there, seeing the scenes, getting amongst the fans, nothing matches it on the game day. So it's a problem for us, and it's not really helped by some of the online trolls that we see. That MacArthur supporters group, my God, toxic as fuck.
You're better off.
I don't know.
You're much better off joining either, if you're not in the groups already, the Bullpen Forum or the Herd on the Hill group, because they have actual supporters in them.
Yeah.
Not trolls.
And we're not saying everyone in the MacArthur supporters page is, against the club or whatever, but there's very clearly people with vendettas against the club who are using that as a soapbox.
Just triggering fans left, right and centre.
There's trolls who just make fake accounts and say shit that they know is going to get under people's skins. So they've got to be aware of that. And you know what? The admins of that group are fucking shocking. They I think, are okay with the club being bagged because most of them are from the original Bullpen, right? The guys who, for whatever reason, are no longer associated with the Bullpen. They're all running that group. So they're kind of fine with the club getting slagged off for whatever reasons. I mean, there should be so much optimism on that page. But, we get people ranting about how, you get more people at games if they're advertising on the radio. We do advertise on the radio. Triple M. We didn't go with C91.3.
And who the fuck actually listens to the radio?
Yeah.
I mean, we get...
maybe oldies, but people our age and maybe a few years older, they're not tuned into that.
Yeah.
They're online.
Yeah. And there's much better ways of advertising than radio. One 30-second radio readout saying go to the Bulls game.
He's not going to convince you.
Half the audience might miss it. anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
We're doing all right. I've seen the ads up at the square, and that we just got to get more out there. And I know, it's expensive marketing. Getting, the attention of anyone is difficult in these times. But we've just got to be a presence. We've got to be around. I think the club could maybe send a few more players out to, playing fields when the kids are trialing or signing up or training. I saw that happen during last week. They sent some people out to Bankstown, which is great. But, a few more in the MacArthur region wouldn't be all right.
Well, I'm not sure what's happening with the MacArthur region, because I think the main competitions going on right now are just like summer soccer and indoor.
True.
So the season hasn't started yet, I don't think.
Yeah, but when it does, they should be. And, it's not hard to turn up on a Tuesday night at Harrington Park and be like, hey, we're the Bulls, we'll sign some autographs. You get people who are already really engaged in football, so much so that they're playing it in summer. They're your people.
And then, you know what? The little tip of advice. You get, 3 blokes from the Bulls, like, Rusi, whoever else, just to come out and get someone to film it. And then you chuck that up on social media and people will love it.
Yeah. We love to see them interact with the fans.
We like seeing more of the players. And
it's weird because, in the olden days, you were just a player and that's it. But in modern times, you're a player and a personality and someone that the fans want to get to know, want to have that parasocial connection to. We're evidence of that.
Yeah.
So, you got to make the most of it. The potential is so there, and that's why we even are doing a podcast like this, because we realize how massive this can be. They just got to make the right decisions. And I think, getting the players out there a bit more, advertising a little bit better. Maybe the social media manager should get the sack. I don't know. But definitely adjusting the prices, right?
Yeah, the price is the key. Because, even I had to buy some tickets and, $30 for the hill. So... Well, actually, on the actual game day, you can't buy it. Just like general, you can't buy for the hill. Which, how much are they usually? Like, are they 20, 25?
Oh, we'll have to have a look at that. I know, we understand it's a business at the end of the day. You got to break even. You got to, paying for stadium rental for actually running the game day, where you've got all the security. You got to pay people to be on the gates. You got to pay the ground announcers and all. It does add up. The food and beverages stuff, it all adds up, but you get more people through the gates and you're going to cover that cost eventually. It's there, and it could be so much more. Now, that's a bit of a dour note to sort of end on. So instead of that, let's make our positive predictions for the Sydney FC game, which is on Boxing Day, under lights, Saturday night, 7:45pm.
7:45.
Yeah.
Late one.
Nice late one. So you can have your Boxing Day lunch and then all jump in the car.
Watch a bit of the cricket, get sunburnt.
All jump in the car, get out to Campbelltown. I mean, what a better time.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do on Boxing Day? It's like, I'm going to eat my leftovers.
Watch
Christmas.
Watch Spider-Man or something.
Yeah, but don't do that. Come to the game.
Yeah.
Sydney FC, if we can get the win over them, that's a massive statement. That claims our ownership of the league.
And the ownership of Sydney as well.
Yeah, again. So be there to witness it. Daniel, what's your prediction for the match?
So obviously Curto's out for this game, so Schumann getting the start. I'm not sure. I know for certain we're not gonna walk away with no points.
Yeah.
I could see a 2-0 win or like a 1-all sort of thing happening. Because Ninkovic, if he's playing, could fall over again and
buy a penalty.
Buy a pen or a free kick in a dangerous area. So, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. At least 2 goals scored in the game. Doesn't matter what side.
For me, I think we've done really well. I think we have attacking threat. Don't get me wrong. I think we're quality going forward, but I think we're going to get duck eggs on Boxing Day. I think it's going to be 0-0. I think our defence will hold them out. We'll have some chances. We'll go close. We might even have one ruled offside or from VAR pulling it back. But I think personally, like the realist in me goes, it's probably looking at a 0-0 draw. That doesn't mean you can't attend, because it'll be an exciting 0-0 draw.
So you think we're on for another clean sheet?
Yeah, I think Suman will stand up. I think we'll pretty much limit Sydney's attack, especially if we play that compact defensive style. If we can nab a goal, there's no way they're winning. We got the wood over Sydney FC.
Yeah, I reckon Noon could bang one.
Yeah.
Has he scored yet or just assisted everything?
He's just assisted. I reckon the way he's going to score would be a cross, because you know how he cuts back onto his left. It's that perfect angle for him to loop the cross in.
Cross just sails in.
Evades everyone and just sails in.
Is it one of the ones where it like bounces on the 6-yard box and it just goes in the corner?
Redmayne sort of wants to come for it, but wants to save the shot that he thinks is coming into. I think that's how it's going to happen.
All right. Mark it down. You heard it here first.
Yeah, put money on it.
Yeah. But yeah, should be a good game, hopefully. Always nice to, battle Sydney FC, bullpen versus the Cove.
Yeah. I mean, they always bring fans in big numbers, so it always creates a nice atmosphere, and we got to be there to represent Macarthur, There's
We need to get more than 2,000 people, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Which we should.
We should,
for sure.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people will turn up for this one. So don't miss it. Saturday night, 7:45 p.m. at Campbelltown Stadium, and should be a classic.
Yeah.
And we thank you again for listening to this episode of Bull Banter. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, especially Instagram. That's where all of our content usually lands, and we do a little bit extra stuff there. So make sure you find us out there, share us with your friends, and have yourselves a Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
See you in the next one.